Make a habit of empathy, to recognize ourselves in each other.
We have this illusion that our pets have empathy for us. I think that they do, but I think they have a lot of self-interest in it as well. And when you've given up a pet for adoption and they transfer all that empathy to the other person, and that's a curious experience. You thought it was all about you, but it really wasn't.
So there's no animal that's kind of like empathy, not a furry, fuzzy dog or something?
Well, I mean, I don't know. I'm reluctant to, I mean, the image that came into my mind was the purring cat in my lap. But I'm reluctant to go there because I'm reluctant to do the fuzzy side of empathy. There's something very hard about empathy, to really feel empathy for someone else. Maybe like, getting into a freezing shower. I mean, it's not necessarily going to be easy, because it may really challenge your own attitudes and beliefs about something, to see how very differently someone else sees the world. So it's not for just people who want to cozy up.
So it's kind of like a furry, purring cat in a cold shower.
Right, something like that. I don't know.
Like what?
Yes. I mean, it's like caring enough about someone to go out in the freezing rain with them, to help them do something.
I thought of the cat with the claws, like the cats are
right.
Not just purring through it.
No, they can sink in.
While they're purring, they're like kind of digging in,
Right.
So those are some of the ideas that kind of come to mind.
I'm not very good with animal metaphors. I mean, people, say, what animal would you like to be? And it doesn't, it's not where my imagination goes.
I try sometimes, it just helps, it starts stimulating.
No, I understand. I got it, yeah.
So let's see, maybe what is the opposite of empathy?
Well, that's interesting. I think insecurity and fear, that's where I go right away. The more fearful, the more insecure you feel, the more you want to put up your barriers. I think I have. And here's an image that has been very strong in my imagination. It's that the modern world is like a huge pit of chaos, because if you have children, you have no idea what philosophy or morality or religion or whatever they're going to get into. I mean, I have friends whose children have gone completely diametrically opposite ways, or have gone drug addicts, or you don't know what's going to happen. So there's this sort of pit of relativity, and you can't sort of be sure about anything. And so I imagine it as this huge, bottomless, black cloud pit of chaos. And around the rim, imagine it like a big lake, and around the rim are these castles that people build, fortresses, fundamentalist fortresses, we think of fundamentalist religious fortresses. I am right, everyone else is wrong, everyone's going to hell, everyone's going into the pit except for me and mine. But there are other ways of being fundamentalist. You can be a secular fundamentalist, an atheist fundamentalist, you can be a vegetarian fundamentalist. I mean, there are people who latch on to some good thing and just make it their measure of what's right and wrong, and they find their security in it, and so the armies march out from these castles and fight each other. But the people who I aspire to be are the people who get into their little frail boat with a single sail, and they find the wind of intuition, and they sail out over the sea of chaos, and they meet the other people who are sailing out on the sea of chaos, and they make their little flotillas of boats and their little communities that actually manage to float in the chaos. That's my image of the empathic people, the empathy and intuition and an openness of heart and a trust in the universe. All these things seem to me to go together, and those are the people who meet out floating on the chaos.
They go with the empathy, with a sense of empathy, or
with empathy, with trust, with openness to other people, openness to the universe, a sense of expectation. There's a great deal of deep inner confidence, but it doesn't necessarily have to be confidence in me, in myself. It may be confidence in what actually happens between you and me, or what actually happens when you take joy in the universe. The universe is a very strange place. I mean, we're only here because we're made of material from exploded stars, and there were major periods of mass extinction in the history of life. 90% of all marine mammals died, 70% of all land mammals or land animals died, that sort of thing. That's happened a number of times. We're here because of unimaginable violence that has happened in the past. So you can't be completely against violence in that sense. Yes, it's just part of what is. It's part of, so one has to have a certain acceptance of, and if you relish being alive and being in the universe, take joy in some sense in the whole thing, even though you can't really explain it or understand it. But to try and narrow it all down and say, only the people who believe this about the way the universe is constructed, and there's God who is good and understands, answers your prayers, and there's the devil, and there's, all these sorts of things that we lay over it. They are part of what makes these fortresses, and they're not really what open the heart and what enable us to love each other.